Hello, everybody. Um, Today we're going to look at a method for finding the coordinates of a point, a specific fraction of the way away from going from one point to another along a segment. Now, the systems of equations method that we're going to look at, I do not recommend. I'm honestly only making this video at the request of one of my students who just wanted to see it. But let's go ahead and look at it. So we're going to need a few things. The first thing we are going to actually need is the length of AB. Okay, so if we find the length of AB, we can use Pythagorean's theorem or the distance formula depending on what we like. I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem. So if I think of A and B being in the coordinate plane, I have a horizontal distance and a vertical distance. And my horizontal distance is simply going to be 4 minus 2, or my horizontal length is going to be 4 minus -2, which is 6. Obviously, this is not drawn very well to scale because from -10 to 8 is going to be a length of 18. And if we do the Pythagorean theorem, this side being AB, we have AB squared equals 6 squared plus 18 squared, and AB squared is 36 plus 324, and that'll give us 360. And then 360 is nice. It doesn't quite have a square root, but it is nice. However, we're just going to leave it as AB squared here for a minute. Okay. Now, the second thing that we need is the equation of the line between A and B. So we have first need to get our slope. So our slope is just keeping signs in mind. It's the vertical, down 18, and the horizontal, right 6. And 18 over 6 is just 3. So we have -3. Then we can use any old equation for the line, but most people like slope-intercept form, so we have y equals mx plus b, and that's going to yield for us y equals -3 x, and our y-intercept, we can do the quick scratch work down here to get it. 8 equals -3 times -2 plus b. This is +6. We subtract 6 from both sides and we get that b equals 2. So this is just going to be +2. And the last thing that we need, which is one of the big reasons that I have not talked about and will not talk about this in class, is because we need another function equation, and it's an equation of a function that we haven't looked at yet in geometry. But the third thing that we need is the equation of the circle centered at A, with radius 2/3 the distance from A to B, which is why we need to know the distance. So, okay, we have x minus -2, so this is going to be x plus 2 squared plus, and then we have y minus 8 squared, and then this is going to equal. Now, we need to get the right distance value here. It's not quite 360. 360 is, 1, the square of the distance from A to B, and 2, we actually want only 2/3 of that distance. So if we remember, when we square a fraction, we end up with 4, or squaring the numerator and the denominator. So this is going to be 4/9. So really, we just want to know what is 4/9 of 360. And this actually comes out somewhat nicely, because if I divide 360 by 9, that is 40. And then if we multiply 40 by 4, that's 160. So this is 160. Okay. We now have everything we need to go through this. So, the big thing is we want to write our x and our y. We want to find one of those two variables, because we need one of them to start off with so that we can find the other. Now, we know that y equals -3x plus 2. What we're going to do is we're going to just substitute that in for y in our circle, and we now have x plus 2 squared plus, and then we have this y minus 8 here, but y is -3x plus plus 2. So -3x plus 2 minus 8 leaves us with -6. Now, this equals 160. We could, at this point, simply expand both of these out and use the quadratic formula, but let's be a little bit clever. This is x plus 2 squared plus, I can factor out a -3 here, and that's going to give us -3 times x plus 2, all of that squared, must be 160. And if we look at this, we also have that -3 squared is 9. So what we end up with is x plus 2 squared plus 9 times x plus 2 squared is going to equal 160. And then we can simply solve without having to expand at all. So we're going to combine these. That gives us 10 times x plus 2 squared equals 160. And we divide both sides by 10, and we have x plus 2 squared is 16. And then we can take the square root of both sides. This is actually really kind of nice because we have a perfect square. Obviously, this bit does not always happen. But if we go ahead and take that square root, we now end up, take the square root and subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. We have x equals -2 plus or minus 4, which translates into that x is either equal to -6 or x is equal to +2. Now, some might go, but we have two options. There's only one point that this can be, but we have two options. Yes, we do. But let's think for a minute. Which of these two is between A and B? 2. So this is the x value that we want. We can then substitute that back in to here to figure out our y value. So if we do that back substitution, we end up with y equals -3 times 2 plus 2, or -6 plus 2, which is 4. So the point that is 2/3 the way, -4. The point that is 2/3 the way from A to B in this situation is the point 2, -4. Now, just to kind of potentially drive my point home about not wanting to do this method, let's real quick look at the method that I do recommend. So the method I recommend says that you start off thinking of a point, and you need the initial value for your x and your y. Well, we're starting at A, so my initial value for my x is -2. My initial value for my y is 8. Then I need to determine if I'm increasing or decreasing. Well, -2 to 4 is definitely an increase, so I'm going to add. 8 to -10 is definitely a decrease, so I'm going to subtract. Then I need my horizontal distance. Actually, let's do the fraction first. Then I'm going to put 2/3, and since 2/3 is my commonality here, it goes in both. And then I need the horizontal and I need the vertical distance. So my horizontal distance is 6. My vertical distance is 18. And then we go ahead and do our combination here. So 2/3, just simplify everything down. So what we have is -2 plus 4 and 8 minus, let's see, 12. And if we look, that gives us +2 and -4. So in what took most of the room here, able to fit in that little box. Much easier, much less complicated. that does it for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.